Hey guys, it's Stuff Graphics. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a Mermaid Redraw. In light of the redraw that I did, or the final version of it, I'm not really going to call this a redraw anymore. I'm just going to say this is for Mermay, for the fact it doesn't use similar elements within the photo. I'll post it on social media, but for the time being it's not going to be a redraw. For the anatomy of this piece, I really had no direction. I had to use a lot of references for the pose and everything, but here you see that I'm changing the scale of things just to make sure it's all proportional and also not too comically big or small in the head or the arms. What I think I do really well in this is the anatomy of the chest and torso. I feel like that it does emulate some masculine features that I was trying to go for. The tail of the merman I wanted to model after a shark, just for the fact the pose has him with a trident, so I wanted to emulate some sort of like fierce energy. And here I do the trident. I do change a few things about it because I don't really like what I had so far, but that does change just a little bit. I also edit the arm for you can actually see the trident instead of me just wasting time designing one. And here I'm just adding a couple details for the sketch, just trying to get a few ideas across. But I ignore that for a bit and go into the background. Here I just add just a few corals that I seen on reference, and I'm trying to go for that blue gradient in one of the reference photos. I noticed that some of them are going to be very hard to see when I do just do a random or solid blue. I do edit those and use more recognizable shapes. Here I'm just copying and pasting just school of fish just to get that out of the way. I do edit it just a little bit to add more at the end, but there just a few in this current one. In time for lighting. Well, a more official sketch, I mean. Don't have the face yet. I do feel more confident with my character creating skills now. So with the face it does come easy. And then just adding a few more details before I finalize it, and just getting everything done. I do also change the size of the hand. It was a little too big in my opinion. And now I'm just going in with the fins. I feel that I did a pretty good job on the fins, just getting that proportion right and all. But now, going in with the Trident, there are many trial and errors with this, in my opinion. Just getting that straight line is very hard to do. If it was an action shot, I wouldn't have to worry about it that much, but it just seems to be a candid one. Now just adding a few more scars, just for that edginess. I also add a bit of armor, just to get a better, to get a better guard feel, instead of a buff dude holding a trident. Finally, onto the actual line art. Here, I do love the brush I'm using. I forget what it is. If I do find out, I'll let you guys know in the comments. But it was definitely better than the other brush that I was using for our past speed paint. Rotating the canvas did do a bunch of help to line all these fins. I'd say rotating the canvas is definitely going to be a more prominent part of my lining process now. And now lining the sphere, I definitely now have an easier time lining it, we'll say. I do use the brush tool, or pen tool I mean, to get the curves right, although they weren't proportional in the beginning, so it was definitely hard to edit those. And after just getting the prongs correctly, I move on to the actual spike parts. I saw a reference on Pinterest that had a more tapered-esque appearance when going to the prongs, so I do add that as well for later highlights. And now onto color. I do use the paint bucket tool for most of the coloring, just for the convenience of it. But if it didn't really transfer or recognize a certain place, I do go in with the pen tool, brush tool I mean, to just change it. Another reason why this wasn't really a redraw was because of the color combo. In the in the past photo or piece I did, it wasn't really cohesive. It was more just what colors I thought would have been interesting. But here I do try and make them cohesive and just work together. Here I was gonna try and make the Trident gold, but then I chose against it. With the armor, well, sort of armor, I wanted to go for just a normal highlight gradient tool, but I do add some white detailing into it, just to make sure you know there's light hitting it. I do also add just a little bit of dark yellow just to give more dimension. I also add that to the straps and then onto the tail. With the gradient tool, it was definitely helpful to help get that base shading down. And then I shade around the fins and then re-add those scarred marks. I also use a gradient tool with my hair as well. I usually do this as like a normal thing just to help make sure I have the correct lighting and stuff. Here I also add just a bit of lighting towards the spikes and now onto the actual spear part. And now shading for the body. That was pretty self-explanatory since I already knew where the ridges of each muscle was, and so it wasn't really difficult to do so. The highlighting was definitely a part that I grew to do better at, and definitely something I'll try and do more often. With the eyes, because of our character being, too far away from the camera to get it detailed, I just went for just a classic brown eye and not that much of a shading. Here I just quickly line the background, just doing a quick paint bucket tool option, and then add the fish detailing. Later on, I do add more fish just to make it more recognizable, or just more of a school of fish instead of just a couple. I also add my coral detailing. Some of the coral that I already drew in the sketch wasn't recognizable, so I added a third layer to the background. I was going to add some shading, but thought against it because it wouldn't look like what I wanted. Here, I add just a ray of light to give some reason why his armor is glistening. I add a second layer just to make it pop, and then I have struggle trying to rotate it, but then realize I have a rotate option on my canvas. Here I also add a bit of bubble detailing as I did in my reference, so here I'm doing the same. From what I've seen in some reference photos, bubbles have sort of rainbow-esque in the center just because it's reflecting light. So later on I do add a iridescent background, or iridescent center to it. And here's the final speed paint for this week. I hope you all enjoy, and if you have any suggestions, please be sure to leave them in the comments. And please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Hope you all have a nice day, good day, and bye.